Do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. Distinguished colleagues, good morning. Will you please examine the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 11th day of December 2024? Distinguished colleagues, and confirm that the entries therein please examine the true reflection of what transpired yesterday. Page 1019, page 1020, page 1021, page 1022, page 1023, page 1024, page 1025. Senator Cyril Oluwole Fasui, can you move for the adoption of the votes and proceedings?
Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I rise this morning to move a motion that the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 11 December 2024 be adopted. Thank you very much.
Senator Reverend Johanna, could you please second the motion?
Mr. President, dear distinguished colleagues, Amos Johanna Adama North, I rise to second the motion that the proceedings, the votes and proceedings of the Senate meeting on the 11th day of December 2024 be adopted. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion moved by Senator Cyril and second by Senator Johanna for the adoption of the votes and proceedings of yesterday, the 11th day of December 2024, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The votes and proceedings of yesterday is hereby adopted. Deputy Clerk. I wish to acknowledge the presence of members of Students' Union Government of UNN, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, who are in the gallery to observe Senate proceedings. I wish you Fruitful observation of the Senate proceedings. You are welcome. May you sit down. Petition, any petition?
Petition. Petition.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, DSP sitting as president today, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Neda Imaswa, representing Edo South Senatorial District, Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition. I have two petitions before me, Mr. President. One is a matter of illegal admission of cadets into the police academy in Wudil in Kano State. The petitioner, who is the staff of that institution, has petitioned this Senate to look into this matter to address this issue of illegal admission and to bring it to a stop. The second petition, Mr. President, is that of Mr. Godi Osa Igbe Kame, PhD. This petition is about cancellation, alterations, and mutilation of foreign university documents to suppress his promotion to the exalted rank of a professor in the same institution, which is Nigerian Police Academy in Wudil. He complains that his promotion has been suppressed for reasons unknown to him, and that we should look into this matter seeking redress. These are two petitions, Mr. President.
Is there any legal encumbrance? Is it matter before any court of law in the country or anywhere in the world?
To the best of my information, none.
You may wish to place the petition on the table.
Thank you, Mr.
The petition, okay.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order, Chief. Okay, wait, allow him to finish before you raise your point of order. Let him drop the. Just wait, minority. The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to report back to Senate within 4 weeks. Minority Whip, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I rise on Order 41 and 51. With your leave, Mr. President, I may proceed to read.
Go ahead.
Order 41, Mr. President, a matter of urgent public importance. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Mr. President, Order 51. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, my order is taken from a resolution of the Senate on the 20th of November, 2024, where the Senate mandated the Committee on Works to carry out an investigation of importance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria on contracts awarded to certain companies by the Ministry of Works. So, Mr. President, I come under the refusal of contractors, including and especially Julius Berger Nigerian PLC, to honor a lawful invitation by the National Assembly. Mr. President, if you allow me, I'll proceed with the motion.
To allow you, he made me this morning to tell me about this motion. Is it the view of the Senate that it should be allowed to proceed with the debate on the motion. Please, those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. This motion is on the refusal of contractors, including and especially Julius Berger Nigerian PLC, to honor a lawful invitation by the National Assembly on the deplorable state of the critical national infrastructure projects. Mr. President, this motion is sponsored by me and co-sponsored by Senator Asuko Ekpenyong and Senator Barenada Mpigi. And I proceed, Mr. President. The Senate notes that on the 20th of November 2024, the Senate mandated the Committee on Works to conduct investigation into the state of road infrastructure across the country. The Senate recalled that in furtherance of the investigative hearings, Julius Berger Nigerian PLC has neglected and refused to honor invitations to provide details of their role in the Odukwani-Itu Highway project, despite receiving substantial public funds amounting to over 18 billion naira. The Senate further recalls that the alarming discrepancies in performance among contractors on these projects, with specific reference to Julius Berger for failing to meet delivery timelines. The Senate recognizes the constitutional powers of the National Assembly under Section 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to conduct investigations and summon any person or organizations responsible for administering public funds. The Senate further recognizes the power set out in Section 6(1) of the Legislative House Powers and Privileges Act, which empowers the Senate to issue warrants of arrest for persons in contempt of its proceedings. The Senate further observes that the termination of Julius Berger's contract for the Odukwani-Itu Highway project due to demobilization and refusing to accept contract review terms, despite the initial contract value of 54 billion naira and a subsequent request for an upward review from 54 billion naira to 195 billion naira. The Senate further observes the critical need for transparency and accountability in the disbursement and administration of public funds appropriated for these projects. Mr. President, the Senate resolves to condemn the refusal of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC and other entities to honor the lawful invitations of the Senate, which constitutes contempt of the National Assembly and undermines the National Assembly's constitutional authority. Invoke the constitutional powers of the National Assembly as provided in Section 89(1)(c) and (d) of the 1999 Constitution to issue a warrant of arrest to compel the attendance of the Managing Director of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC at the rescheduled investigative hearing. Direct the Clerk of the Senate to publish this resolution in the Journal of the National Assembly and the Gazette of the Federal Government of Nigeria in compliance with Section 88 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Direct the Committee on Works to continue its investigation into the Odukwani-Itu Highway, the East-West Road, and other national projects with a mandate to present a detailed report on the contractor disbursement and project status at the appropriate time. Urge the Federal Ministry of Work to collaborate with the Senate in addressing inefficiencies and consider re-awarding contracts of capable entities for non-performing sections of critical infrastructure projects in the country. Urge the Senate leadership to engage with the executive to reinforce and necessitate of contractor entity accountability in achieving infrastructure goals under the renewed hope agenda of the Federal Republic the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader, you can second the motion and then.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second this very vital, germane motion moved in this hallowed chamber by the minority whip. Mr. President, let me say ab initio that contractors that have been given jobs and have been mobilized and neglect to do so are showing crass disrespect for our nation. Mr. President, I want to particularly recall my trip on the Calabar-Odukpani-Itu Road recently. It will interest you to note, Mr. President, that on that fateful day, I missed my flight of 10 o'clock in the morning, having left Calabar to go to Uyo by 5 a.m. Means for about 5 hours I was on that road. And on that fateful day too, Mr. President, a tanker fell on the road on that very deplorable part, and indigents were scooping the product from the tanker, which has led in the recent past to the death of several Nigerians in many parts of Nigeria. Mr. President, I think there is an imperative need at this point that we take this motion very seriously and urge the relevant agencies of government and the relevant committees of the Senate to collaborate as a matter of national importance to ensure the resolution of this impasse on the part of the contractors and the awarding agencies. Mr. President, we're talking about the Renewed Hope agenda. We're talking about the desire by government to do things for this country. Yet, a few individuals masquerading as contractors, collecting public funds and not doing the job, are attempting to sabotage the process. I think we must take this matter very seriously. And it is not just Julius Berger. Yes, Julius Berger can be a point of contact for all these other contractors that we're talking about here. But Mr. President, I can tell you that even in Benue State, an 8-kilometer road that was flagged up in 2018 has remained as it were until this moment that I'm talking to you. The abandoned project of Ogobia Onyangede Ankpa Road has been abandoned for years. But on a very interesting note, I am told that after the collation of abandoned projects, which included that road, that the contractor has mobilized to site. I just hope that he doesn't abandon it again. Mr. President, this is what is reflected in all parts of Nigeria. And so I want to honestly appreciate the person who has moved this motion and to urge my colleagues not only to support it, but to see it as a clarion call to call these people to order in order to salvage this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Asuko, you are a co-sponsor. Ought to have seconded the motion, but you can thereafter, will take the floor and Senator Adam Alero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. My name is Asuko Ikpeyong, Senator representing Cross River South, and the co-sponsor of this all-important motion, sponsored by myself, Senator Osita Ongu, and Senator Mpigi Barinada. Mr. President, on the 20th of November this year, I read a motion on the floor of this hallowed chamber calling on the review and the investigation, the slow pace of work on the Odukpani-Itu Federal Highway. Flowing from that directly, the resolutions passed by this Senate was that the Senate Committee on Works invites the three contractors, Messrs. Sematech, Messrs. Julius Berger, and Messrs. CCECC, Nigeria Limited, to a hearing. That hearing held the following week and was presided by the #1 presiding officer of the National Assembly himself, the Senate President. In that engagement and at that hearing, Out of the 3 contractors, only 1 contractor was present, Mr. Sematech, Nigeria Limited. The presiding officer, the president of this Senate, directed at that meeting that another hearing be held and that the other 2 contractors must be present, including the Minister for Works. Senior members of the Committee of Works were at that meeting. Members such as Senator Ningi, Senator Alero, all present. The next invitations were duly sent, and at the second meeting, Mr. CCECC were there, Mr. Sematech was there, the minister himself was there, but Julius Berger were once again absent. At that second hearing, we gave another break and did a third invitation, asking for Julius Berger to make themselves available. Distinguished colleagues, it is very sad to note and to state that Julius Berger has refused to attend these investigative hearings. Julius Berger they bidded for a job, they were awarded a job, they were paid taxpayers' money, they showed up on site briefly, and they left the site. For whatever reason they may have done that, they have to come and tell the Nigerian people. Julius Berger, even though they may have their origins outside this country, can never try what they are doing in Nigeria, in Germany, or wherever in Europe they originate from. It behoves on this Senate that we establish and utilize the powers and the constitutional powers that are given to us to invite the gentleman, the managing director of Julius Berger, to appear before us so that we can look into this matter and give it the necessary conclusion. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
Senator Ojiuzo Kalu.
Mr. President, you have to talk now, so I will know.
I called your name, but you were discussing with somebody.
Yes, I was, but you could call my attention. That is your job, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity you have given to me. I was there at Soko in the meeting, and Julius Berger refused to come. They have been doing it in the 9th Senate. Most people summon Julius Berger, they refuse to come. And I urge this Senate to punish them. They cannot be doing this. If they're a construction company, they must listen to the parliament. It's not only Julius Berger. Even some of our ministers are not answerable to the committees. And they will insult our chairman. And they will insult people working in the Senate. You will invite a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Some of them will not listen to the chairman of your committee, Mr. President. And enough is enough. We should query these ministers and ask Mr. President to drop them. How can a chairman of a committee be looking for a minister for 2, 3 days, 4 days, they will not answer phone? So they are doing the same thing Julius Berger is doing. We are protected under Section 28, 88, and 89 of the Constitution as amended, 1999 Constitution. We cannot be taking this. This is a parliament. Unless they want us to be a study area, we become a study area. We are lawmakers, and they should respect this place. It's not only Julius Berger, it's also your ministers and DGs. Many chairmen of parastatal, including some of the federal government parastatal. The chairman have been telling me, I will go for a committee meeting, I expect to see a minister, the minister will not come. And I'm not the chairman, I can't do anything. It's a hard time that any minister, the parliament must put a performance record for all the ministers. I must report to the commander-in-chief. Because we are not here for jokes, Mr. President. Please, I want to thank my colleague, Osamgu, for bringing this motion. Because it is annoying that you will send us to do something and we'll be looking for a minister. I called one minister throughout yesterday because I had a meeting and message from my committee. That minister have not answered now. Just now I'm talking, I saw his missed call for 24 hours. Is that right? That is not good, Mr. President. We have to use our powers. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this opportunity to voice how I feel this morning. I feel like fighting, but I can't fight. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Oji Uzokalo, for your brilliant contribution. But the only thing I want to draw your attention to is that we don't punish here. We don't punish. It's the judiciary that sentences anyone that commits anything against the law. So we don't punish. You have to understand that. But we do lawmaking, oversight, and so investigation, and so on and so forth. Senator Mohamed Ademalero, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues. I rise to lend my support, which is heavily moved by Senator Osita. Mr. President, I was in the meeting when Julius Berger was asked to come. They failed to come for the first time. And the minister was there. And we decided that we should give them a second chance. A letter was written to them by the clerk of the committee. Again, they failed to come. But I thought, Mr. President, the committee has all the powers to compel Julius Berger to appear before the committee. We don't have to bring this issue to this hollow chamber. Yeah, no. Let me learn, please. Then you can talk. Under the 1999 Constitution, the committee has the power to compel any agency of government, any minister, to appear before it. And if he fails to appear before it, we can invoke that particular section of the Constitution and even cause him to be arrested and to be brought to either the committee or to the chamber. So we have not exhausted that at the committee level. So I believe we should first and foremost deal with the matter at the committee level. Compel Julius Berger to appear before the committee and hear why they could not complete the road after collecting a colossal amount of money. As far back as 2020, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I was on this particular road, an oversight, and at that time, all the contractors working on that particular road were on site except Julius Berger. When we came back to Abuja, we called them, and they said they have submitted a request for variation because of escalation of prices. The ministry is yet to give them a go-ahead. And this has been the matter since then. Mr. President, I'm not in support of what Julius Berger is doing. What they are doing is certainly condemnable, but bringing them to this chamber or discussing them about discussing the issue in this chamber will amount to elevating them. We should deal with it at the committee level. I so submit, Mr. President.
I think before we proceed, he raised a fundamental issue or procedure, which all of us know here. Every person that has been within the well, I'll give you the chance to speak. I'll give you. Normally, if a committee summons any person or entity to come for a committee hearing, and that entity does not send a representative or do not appear in any way, the normal thing is to report to the presiding officer, and then warrant will be issued. Well, before that, even there will be some communication. Come. Thereafter, there will be issue of warrant to compel that person to come. If that is the case, then of course this motion is not necessary because it's a matter of procedure, and we know it. Anybody within the legislature for a long time is experienced in this in the legislative work will understand that there's no need for motion. Yes, no, yes, no, but he raised a important issue. You talk, but it's good when somebody's raised an issue which we know, we need to voice it out. Senator Ningi.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central of Bauchi State.
Mr. President, let me begin with the issue of procedure. The committees, of course, derive their powers from the Senate standing rules. The Constitution gives the National Assembly such powers. There is no way, there is nowhere in other paper, nor in the powers and privileges of National Assembly, does a committee chairman is saddled with the capacity to compel. It is the presiding officer that confers. And therefore, when a matter of this nature is brought before a house, the committee now seeks the mandate of the entire Senate. The mandate of the entire Senate is quite different from the mandate of a committee superintended by a chairman. So I don't want us to dilute this matter. This matter, Mr. President, should not be diluted. It is a serious problem. And it is not just Julius Berger, like I said. Most of the committees have been having a random battle with agencies, MDAs, because they don't think this National Assembly is so serious. I don't know how we arrived at this particular situation. I was a committee member. I was at the hearing, and I raised this particular matter, whereby a committee, a competent committee, will send an invitation. Sometimes even permanent secretaries will not come. Sometimes the ministers will not come. Sometimes they send far inferior officers, and they come, and our hands are so tight. Mr. President, this is an independent legislature. This is not a subsection of the presidency. The National Assembly is an independent body. Look at Section 4 of powers and privileges of the National Assembly. And they can make laws on anything, over anything, at every given time. And therefore, I summon anybody, whether you are in government, whether you are not in government, whether you are a businessman, and here we are saddled with a very unfortunate malady. Ask any committee chairman whether he's not having issues with attendance of head of NDS or ministries. But somehow, because of the Nigerian factor, you try to compel, you try to use their power. People who come from all sorts of directions. Please, he's a member of our party. Please, he's a Yoruba man. Please, he's from Bauchi State. And these are happening, these are recurring dismal in our functions. And therefore, I have not seen for a very long time when Julius Berger appeared before the Senate. I have not seen for a very long time. And when Senator Alero, with all sense of responsibility, said the committee should, and I want Alero to tell us, how will the committee do? What can the committee do? The only way the committee can do, the only thing, is to reach out to a presiding officer, and compel. But here, the committee is not actually asking the buy-in of a presiding officer. Mr. President, the committee is not asking for a buy-in of presiding officer. The committee is asking for a buy-in of the Senate. The Senate, Mr. President, is bigger than a presiding officer. Once senators are in concurrence as to what we do, as long as we do not violate these rules, as long as the rule is complementary to the Constitution, the presiding officer cannot say no. The presiding officer, of course, is just but one of us. And therefore, this particular motion is not calling for a buy-in of a presiding officer. It's calling for a buy-in of the Senate in its entirety. And therefore, the question is whether or not the Senate agrees with the resolution and the fact of the matter. Mr. President, lastly, if we continue to dilute matters of this nature like this in a manner that we're trying to do, then you go out there, you are taken for a ride, nobody respects you, and therefore we have to look inwards. Why are we getting some of this expectation? Why are we not getting the required attention from MDS? Is it about the institution? Is it about individuals? Is it about our processes? Then we need to sit down as a house, as a Senate, to reflect going for what we need to do. But so far, the impression out there is that anybody can refuse to come and nothing happens. And that is a fact of the matter. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Dixon.
Well, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, Henry Siraka Dixon, Bayelsa West. A lot has been said on this matter, and a lot of sentiments and emotions have been evoked. We can see that there's clear anger at the clearly uncooperative attitude of a contractor. What I'm saying should not be construed to mean a support of that. I want to align myself respectfully, even though I agree with the sentiments and emotions and some of the reasons given. I want to respectfully align myself with the position earlier canvassed by Senator Aleru in terms of procedures. Let me begin by saying that with the concerns we are now hearing about even officials of the executive arm not honoring invitations and summons, there are so many reasons we can't disclose fully here about what has to be done differently by members, committees, and also the leadership. I believe that those matters, as we say in my place, and the German will say, the stomach of a crocodile should not be opened in the marketplace. Because you don't know if you will see, you can't be too sure what you will find inside. So I will respectfully suggest that when we have an executive session, properly convened, at the right time, we can examine all those issues that have to do with conduct, that have to do with standards, and so on, by members, by committees, by chairmen, and by the leadership. Now, coming to this, I am a believer of the fact that this plenary, the plenary of the Senate, is a sacred place. And that's why I've never been in support. It's only very rare cases that I will support a situation where even people come here on plenary to make statements. This plenary, anytime we are meeting in plenary and the mace is lying there bearing the insignia of the country, solemn, it means that this is the meeting of Nigeria. This is a meeting, anytime we are meeting in plenary, it's a meeting of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by its elected senators. So that is why I've always not been in support. That is why I agree with the views by Senator Aleru that in the case of disobedience or recalcitrance by people invited, that the committees the committees already have by the rules, by our rules, and by also the Constitution, the powers have been vested in the committees to compel attendance. To compel attendance. The procedure is there. And they will make an application to the presiding officer, who will now sign the necessary proceedings. So I agree that even discussing a corporate entity, no matter how big, no matter how we're elevating them. That's why I say we should protect the sanctity of the plenary. So to that extent, I spoke in support of this road. I sat in those proceedings. I saw the minister. I attended to give support to it. But I think that we should not elevate a company level where senators of the Federal Republic would begin to talk about. Our committees have the powers to deal with it. If we need to issue a warrant, if the committee needs to compel the attendance with a warrant, the powers are already there. They will make a necessary application to the presiding officer, even today. But I caution that we should not, even in that, we should not take decisions out of emotions, out of anger. There should be effort made to put across so that this Senate, like equity, and equity like a court, should not act in vain. We should not act in vain. Where a company, no matter how big, will now come and begin to, no. I think that's why I support Senator Alero's position. I agree with my good friend. It's one of the first times we'll be disagreeing, but we are united. All of us are united about how to get people to respect the authority of the Senate, of any committee. If you disrespect a committee, you are disrespecting the Senate. You are disrespecting the National Assembly and the Constitution of the country, which we shouldn't allow. But there are ways.
Thank you very much. You've made your point.
To go about it so that we don't accelerate or promote them too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Dixon, for the elaborate explanation you've made. You've said it all. And I also agree with the sentiment raised by Senator Ningi. He's worried. We are also worried. And whoever listens to him carefully will understand why we should be worried. We don't need to elaborate. It's a fact. Can you listen? Listen, please. Listen. But Senator Dixon has explained everything. And I thank you. I thank him for his explanation. I want to refer the Senate to Section 89 of our Constitution, which reads as follows. For the purpose of any investigation under Section 88 of this Constitution, and subject to the provisions thereof, the Senate or the House of Representatives or a committee appointed in accordance with Section 62 of this Constitution shall have the power. Now I go to where this matter is really taken care of. To summon any person in Nigeria to give evidence at any place or to produce any document or other thing in his possession or under his control, subject to all just exceptions. And D, to issue a warrant to compel. To issue a warrant. Even a committee has the power to issue a warrant. Even the committee. To issue a warrant to compel the attendance of any person who, after having been summoned to attend, fails, refuses, or neglects to do so, and does not excuse such failure, refusal, or neglect to the satisfaction of the House, to the House or the committees in question. Your committee in question, and to order him to pay all costs which may have been occasioned in compelling his attendance or by reason of his failure, refusal, or neglect to obey the summons, and also to impose such fine as may be prescribed for any failure, refusal, or neglect, and any fine so imposed shall be recoverable in the same manner as a fine imposed by a court of law. So this matter is very simple. Very simple. Excuse me, please. We are talking about the Constitution. This is ground norm. So the issue is this. Senator Dixon has explained all these things. I understand the worry expressed by my colleague, even in the House of Reps, when we were the first in the first report to issue a warrant to compel someone. I'm sure he can remember. We were the first to compel someone to. We did that. At that time, I think the Constitution was not amended. I think the committee did not have the power, or we didn't see that power given to the committee. Now you don't even need to come to the presiding officer because the committee is empowered to do so. So this matter will have been dealt with by the committee. And as said by, you have said it all, Senator Dixon, this place is revered. Issues like this should be taken care of in the committee. This is a fact. No, we need to say it. We will say, but I'm the presiding officer, and when there's a look, it's the ground norm. So for that reason, Senator Dixon has captured the matter in the manner that it should be captured. Any other thing now is just to add to our debate. I'm the chief interpreter of our constitution here, or the rules. So, and I'm so interpreted. So, but I will give you a chance to say what you want to say.
Constitutional order.
Yes.
By your grace.
No, I have the floor.
Section
No,
89.
He has point of order.
Constitutional order. Section 89(2). A summon.
No, but it's good.
A summon or a warrant issued under this section 89(2). 89(2). A summon or warrant issued under this section may be served or executed by any member of the Nigerian Police Force or by any other person authorized in that behalf by the President of the Senate or the Speaker of the House of Representatives, as the case may be. Therefore, the cardinal issue of warrant rests with a presiding officer, President of the Senate or a Speaker. Don't allow us to please embarrass ourselves. No chairman signs a warrant. No chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Your order is sustained. Thank you for guiding us. Senator Joel.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Joel Onoabo Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Senatorial District and all the Deltans living the creeks of the Niger Delta. Mr. President, we've been citing the Constitution and our rule book. I want to first of all align myself with Ningi, and I want to thank the Minority Chief Whip, Asukwo, and Piggy, who has brought this motion to this House. One thing we must understand is that in both the Constitution and the rule book, the powers of the committee, the powers of the presiding officer are delegated from this House, from this Senate to them. And if for any reason a matter that was being dealt at committee level has been brought into this chamber, we cannot, at this point, say that we cannot hear it, make comments, and allow the whole House to take a decision. The decision of this House supersedes every committee and the powers of the presiding officers. And I do not want us to take this matter lightly by trying to sweep it under the carpet.
Senator Kingibe.
Senate President, distinguished senators, my name is Ireti Kingibe. I just went to 89.2. First of all, you have to read 89.2 in conjunction with the first one, which says any of the either a Senate committee member, chairman, and all that can do those things assigned. Yes, can. But a summons or warrant issued under the section may be served or executed by a member of the Nigerian police force, or if it's not by the Nigerian police force, then by any other person authorized by on behalf of the President of the Senate or the Speaker of the House of Representatives, as the case may be. So the only time, Senator Yingi, from my interpretation of this, that you need the Senate President or the Speaker of the House to sign that warrant is when it is being executed by a member other than a member of the Nigerian police force. But if it is by a member of the police force, then the chairman of the committee can be the one to ask for that warrant to be issued. That's my interpretation.
Thank you, Senator Nigi. Your order is noted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to speak again. I just hope that new constitutional orders will not come up again. Like I was trying to say, let us not allow this matter to be swept under the carpet. Please. See, we can't see. This motion was sponsored by Senator Osita Ungu and co-signed, co-sponsored by the chairman of that particular committee. And please, if you had listened to what Senator Asukwa said earlier on, he said the principal officer, the presiding officer of this house had called a meeting inviting all of them to come. They did not come. They called another meeting again. They did not come. They called another meeting again. They did not come. They called a fourth meeting. They did not come. Please, if the committees are free to bring issues to this chamber. They are acting on behalf of us, the people who have been elected into this chamber. If they find it difficult to take any decision on any matter, they have every right to bring it to this place. And here we can take a decision and say this is the way to go. Nothing is out of place at this point in time. So please, that is the point I want to raise regarding whether we have a right to discuss here or not. But let me go on to the issue on ground. The issue on ground. You see, I was in the last investigative hearing in that committee. You need to hear the Minister of Works lamenting. And I want to say this. The reason for the decay in our infrastructure in this country is because of the recalcitrant attitude of our contractors. How do you move a project that was awarded for 54 billion to 195 billion, yet you are not still doing the job? They're taking us for a ride. And I think the Nigerian people need to know how our taxpayers' money is being used. I've not seen it anywhere in this world that you have awarded a contract for 54 billion, then you do a variation of more than 100% on top of it. And these delays are deliberately being made by the contractors. Please, I want to urge my colleagues, we need to look at this thing dispassionately and take a decision on all contractors, not only Julius Berger, on all contractors. Please. It is only in doing so that we can truly be helping our Nigerian people. From the roads in Delta to Edo State, to Lokoja, to Kaduna, to Kano, to everywhere in this country, it's either one contractor is holding us hostage or the other, and making it difficult for us to revoke those contracts. And they're not helping our people on the road. So please, I want us to have this discussion, and let us put it to a vote, if possible, and see that we have a way of taking this decision as a resolution of the House, rather than a resolution of a power that has been conferred. We have all the right to do that in this place. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Distinguished Senator Oshomole.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have listened very attentively to all those who have spoken, but somehow my views are totally and fundamentally different. Your Excellency, I'm happy you are now seated when I have this opportunity to speak. I associate myself 100% with some of the sentiments expressed by distinguished Senator Dixon. That these chambers is not a place you bring contractors to. Because by doing that, we give them an undeserved respect. But my first question, why I say I'm happy you are the one on seat. I was a governor in Edo State, the way we have a federal government at the federal level. When I issued or I approved the recommendation of a tenders board or procurement process, and a contract is awarded, and I confirm from the Ministry of Finance that money has been paid, I go around to check if the money paid, if the job being done is up to the value of the money that has been paid. And should I find that the contractor is no longer working, even when we have paid, it is not the House of Assembly that helps me to bring an irresponsible contractor to justice. The first thing that we do, following the laws of procurement, because there's always a contract. In that contract, there are usually clear provisions as to what should be done when money has been paid and the contractor abandons site, or if the contractor is at site, is working at such a low pace of work that the job might not be completed within the time frame provided for in the contract agreement. But my people have a saying that when an elderly man has shared akara with a small child, he loses respect in the eyes of the child. But we are discussing a contractor here who appear to be more powerful than the Ministry of Works that awarded this contract. I think these two people who are arresting the president, they are part of those who have spoken. Asuko, we will issue warrant of arrest for against lawyer SAN.
I'm with you.
What do we do when a senator left his seat while a distinguished senator is on his feet in order to confuse and try to persuade the Senate president, and you are diverting his attention? It is my privilege to be heard clearly without disturbing the president. And as you go, I don't have to be a boxer to be able to keep you under control. So, sir, Mr. President, I am sure in your 8 years as governor, you have had cause to deal with contractors who collected money and thought it was a Christmas gift. Please, do I have the permission of the House? Osita, please. So, sir, my first question, who is complaining? Is it the committee that awarded the contract? Is the minister complaining? If the minister is not complaining or is pretending to complain, should we not make exactly the same anger on the minister as well as his agent, the contractor? When a man who gives you a job can no longer call you to order, there are questions to be asked, and there are hard answers that must be provided. The man who gives contract cannot be helpless unless he compromises powers. So the hunger of my brother, distinguished Senator Orji, should be directed at the Federal Ministry of Works. And like somebody said, evil petty contractors collect money and walk away. And there are no consequences. And I want to ask for those of us who have had the privilege to give jobs, even in our personal capacity, when you pay your contractor with evidence and you have agreement that says once you pay, a job is done. If the contractor doesn't do it, why are you not invoking those sections not only to terminate, but to use law enforcement? Because this is not a civil matter, it's a contractual obligation that can have a criminal implication. And then get the security information agencies to recover the portion of the money that has been paid and for which no job has been done. For the committee to now be the one chasing a contractor and the federal ministry seems to be indifferent, suggests that we are directing our anger not to the source of the problem, but to the consequences arising from official neglect by those who are empowered to enforce contract agreement. I therefore submit, sir, with profound respect, but the Honorable Minister of Works is as implicated as any other person. Because in the first instance, he is the one representing the executive in awarding this contract. He has a story to tell as to why his contractor has become more powerful than him. Until we do that, I think we are being misled into chasing a contractor. Who is this contractor that is so powerful? More than the federal government, more than EFCC, more than all the agencies that are put in place to deal with people who are involved in criminal embezzlement of public funds. So I submit, sir, that everything we have said of Julius Berger, we should say even more to the Ministry of Works that awarded the contract. There is no evidence they have the power to revoke the contract, and they have the power under the law to get that part of the payment for which they have not worked, to recover that money to public treasury and award the contract to another contractor under clear terms of contract execution.
Thank you.
So let us not shy away from the root cause of the problem. May we not engage anyone that is beyond our capacity to bring under control. Don't hire who you cannot fire.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let me
Point of
give,
order, sir.
an
Point of
opportunity-
order.
Let me give an opportunity to the.
Point of order, Mr. President.
We will be dragging ourselves backwards with points of order. This is a constitutional issue. Is your point of order going to be above the Constitution? Senate President Emeritus.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I'm Ahmed Lawan, I represent Yobe North. Mr. President, let me join my colleagues who spoke earlier. Say that what we are discussing is of a fundamental consequence. But I have a different attitude to it. And here, I would like to state very clearly that committees of the Senate, whether special, ad hoc, or standing, are coordinated by the Senate leader or office of the Senate leader. Mr. President, to me, when committees have issues with either contractors or agencies they supervise and oversight, they should start with Senate leader's office. In a situation where we have a contractor, and here I will agree with so many of our colleagues who said we shouldn't be discussing Julius Berger here, the way we are discussing it. Because it's like the ministry has failed, the Ministry of Works, and now the entire people of Nigeria are talking about Julius Berger and a contractor that has signed
agreements, and those agreements are meant to be kept by both sides. Mr. President, when we have issues like this, plenary is not the best place because you won't get the best information. When we're in a closed session, you will hear a lot more than we are hearing now. Because at that point, it will be no whole bad. So I will advise that we have said enough. Either we go into closed session now and deal with it and conclude on how we go forward, or we may delay it, but I believe that discussing it in plenary does not help the Senate. And therefore, I agree with the submission of Senator Dixon, Reiki Dixon, and of course, partially with the submission of my friend and brother here, the former NLC president, the senator representing Edo North, Senator Adams Oshumole. But I say partially, the Senate, committees of the National Assembly can invite a contractor. Why? If the minister has failed or the ministry has failed, we approved funds and we want to see value for money. We want to see economy. We want to see prudence in the way and manner our funds that we appropriated are utilized. So in conclusion, Mr. President, I will advise that we should find a way of going into closed session and open up so that we deal with this issue. And like many of us said, it's beyond Julius Berger. And this has been a recurring decimal in most sessions of the National Assembly. Ministers, heads of agencies, contractors, sometimes, or many times, they will simply ignore. And when I served as chairman of Public Accounts Committee, which I did in this Senate for 8 years, I knew how the Senate president then gave us the support by signing 1 or 2 warrants, and everybody started to be a better person. We invite you, you will appear. So, Mr. President, I advise, let's go into closed session. And when there is need for signing a warrant, Mr. President, don't hesitate. We have to make example of some people and some institutions. Thank you very much.
Distinguished colleagues, the discussion is repetitive. We have gone round and round and round and round on the same issue. First, I want to agree with majority of you who said that this issue ought not to be discussed in the plenary. You have your constitutional powers, and you have to be very well versed with your constitution. At any point in time, the power of a legislator is in the abiding laws, and particularly the ground norm, which is the constitution. So if you're a chairman of a committee and you don't know how to use the constitution or your powers, you don't need to bring it to the plenary. All you simply do is to let us know that you don't know what to do, and we change you and give it to another senator who knows how to use. I'm mentioning this because some people take the job of the parliament in a joke. I must tell you that the only thing that evidences democracy is the parliament. In every government, you have the judiciary, you have the executive. But once you have the parliament, that is a democratic administration. The parliament, in law, has the power to turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man. And even this constitution, if you look at section 88, section 89 particularly, up to section 89C, it says that you can summon any person in Nigeria to give evidence at any place or to produce any document or anything in his possession or under his control. That is, your power is so wide. You can summon any person in Nigeria These contractors are in Nigeria, whether they are foreigners or not. You can summon any person. And the powers are given both to the plenary as well as the committees. So even the committees have the powers to do so. But where your efforts fail, that's when you approach the speaker or approach the Senate president to say that we need to issue a warrant of arrest. And you must also indicate who is going to execute the warrant. Is it the police? Or is it an agency of EFCC? Or is it the DSS? We are lawmakers. I heard also Senator Jusakalo's submission was very clear. That is not only JB, that it extends to even heads of parastatals and ministers. Personally, I was a minister. There was never a time I was invited by the House of Representatives or the Senate and I did not appear in person. Because when I was in the A Senate, I hated the idea of ministers sending assistant directors to go and appear in the parliament. Luckily today, the president of the country is himself a former senator. The vice president is a former senator. Even the first lady, a former senator. There's no way you use your powers and they will not understand. And you have to understand that your attitude determines your altitude. If you do not exert your powers, then why then are we here? So since this matter has reached us, I believe we should go into the prayers and we should not discuss anymore. If the prayers are strong enough, there are prayers here. Well, the prayers are here. Distinguished colleagues, do we take a single prayer and avoid the multiple prayers contained herein, almost 6 of them, to say that this Senate to resolve to issue a warrant of arrest to the managing director of JV to appear before the Senate Committee on Works to explain what they have done with the finances of the federal government given under their control. If we have power to appropriate, we have power to oversight. We also have powers to follow the money to the letter. My opinion is that the discussion is totally unnecessary. We should have used 5 minutes to finish with this issue. The Senate has no business discussing a contractor. This also shows evidence of proper supervision by the ministry. So what we are going to do is that since we have summoned the company and the company has rebuffed the summons of the National Assembly by implicating this Senate, then we should immediately take the next step of issuing a warrant of arrest to compel the managing director of JB to appear before the Senate committee. And then you fix a date. Those in support of this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has authorized the Senate President to sign a warrant compelling the managing director of Julal Beja to appear before the Senate Committee on Works on a stated date to be so named. And then the report will be made available thereafter to this August Assembly, failing which we shall go further to do the needful as prescribed in the Nigerian Constitution. Those in support of the resolution say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, point of order.
Senate President, my distinguished senators, I rise on Order 41 and 51. 41, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. If the claim is allowed by the President of the Senate and the leave of the Senate is given by at least 1/5 of all senators, the matter shall stand over till the next legislative day. A senator moving a motion under Combined Orders 41 and 51 shall ensure copies of the motion are available for all senators when approval to move the motion is granted. Order 51. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present.
Distinguished Senator Reti, I came from another occasion, and what I met was order of the day. We had actually passed, look at order 38.
No, sir, we haven't passed it because what you just dispensed of was a matter of urgent public importance.
Which
And I have been in this Senate when you have read three or four of such in a sitting, and everybody can attest to that.
Reading it is different from taking it.
No, you have taken them, sir.
We have taken the matter of urgent national importance.
Yes, sir.
And by our rule, we should take one in a day. But what I'm saying in essence is that you can always raise it. And when you raise it, we will put the question to our colleagues. Sometimes they will tell you, bring it in a formal motion the next day. But it is not that we will go on taking matters of urgent importance. And if you look at the other paper, you will see, Leader of the Senate, can you please sit down? Please explain to
you
her.
asked for it to be brought as a motion
Explain
today
to
from yesterday. It's a carryover, sir.
Is it here?
Yes, of course it's here.
Is it on the other paper? It's not on the other paper. The clerk said it's not on the other paper. But come, so it won't appear as if women are marginalized. The Senate leader, can you please refer us to the proceedings of the Senate? Because some of these things is about procedure. The Senate cannot go up and down. We follow the procedure of doing things. So if we have already started orders of the day, we can't go back again to the other side of matter of urgent national importance. We have our own procedures. But the outside world will not understand. The outside world will think that maybe a female senator wanted to raise an issue and the Senate president said no. But it is not here. You should have given it to the Senate services, to the Senate committee on Senator Zam. You should have listed it now if she gave it to you. Did she give you any motion? Rules and business.
No, Your Excellency, no, sir, but we are talking.
Please rise as you are addressing your colleague. It's a part of the orientation we have to go through now.
Well, I will talk to her after this meeting and see whether we can do it.
Has she given you any motion to list for today?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
So,
no, he has not. He has not, sir.
Not of nonsense. Yes. We are yet to put it.
Distinguished colleagues, our procedure is very clear. Senator Sadiq, well, as a ranking senator, can you explain the procedure so that everybody will understand?
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent Kwara North in the Senate.
After Senator Ningi will, after Senator Sadiq, Senator Ningi will say something. Senator Ningi will say something on this issue.
So,
no, you can't use another person's seat. You have to go back to your seat. Yes.
yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
It is Senator Sadiq. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. And welcome to that seat.
So, Mr. President, our procedures are very clear. Maybe there is a little mix-up somewhere. When she came in yesterday with 41, as a motion to be taken the next legislative day, that gives her automatic spot in the order paper the next legislative day. But she has to still carry that motion to rules and business, and it will be scheduled for the next legislative day. So perhaps there is a problem between that understanding and communication. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Natasha. No, I want to explain. Before you say something, what happens is, because she brought it up yesterday, Senator Siri, you have to keep your eyes in one location. See, well, because Senator Ireti Kingibe brought up the issue yesterday, and you further amplified on the issue, the Senate directed that the matter should be brought today. When the Senate directed the matter should be brought today, it means that you have to come through substantive motion, which should be submitted to the rules and business. Then they will put it on our order paper for today. Mandatorily, we will now take it. But not that you come again by raising order 41 and 51, because we dealt with that yesterday on that motion. So it should have come as a substantive motion on our order paper. So she doesn't understand. That is why she left. So I don't know. Okay, please, I will give you a chance to say something, but let Senator Binos Yero. No, but I'm talking about the rules of the Senate. Please,
of course. I agree, sir, that it should have been contained in the order paper.
But what has happened here is that she did not submit the motion as directed by the Senate yesterday, so for it to be listed on the order paper. And the chairman of Rules and Business, Senator Zam,
with respect to the same motion, I actually submitted mine too, but I'm surprised that it wasn't captured in the order paper.
Was it submitted?
No, it was. I actually submitted, and I'm surprised that it wasn't captured, especially considering the fact that the president himself, a minute to the closure of business of work yesterday, he permitted me to speak a few words into the motion, which is with regard to the demolition of the Paul Osa estate. So I actually
Okay.
have the motion with me, sir.
Well, you can off your mic so that you can talk.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, my dear sister, the distinguished Senator Natasha, never gave me any motion to put on the order paper. She's there. I'm not aware.
Come again.
I said Senator Natasha did not approach me, nor sent, nor delivered, nor posted any motion to me to be put on the order paper, with due respect to her.
Senator, distinguished Senator, yes.
Mr. President, this issue is a very clear issue. It's very clear. What the former chairman Rules and Business has said is correct. That the Senate has undertaken a commitment yesterday. It's a commitment that that bill is going to be read today. And that commitment was entered into in this plenary.
Yes.
And it was approved. Therefore, automatically, that is the bill that should be had. The motion has to be had, whether it's in the order paper or not.
Okay.
Approved it here. Have approved it at plenary.
That's
the highest authority that this Senate has, plenary. Once it's approved, it's automatic.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Venus.
Thank you, Mr. President. Venus Yaro, Adama South. Mr. President, the matter we are discussing, if indeed it was raised in plenary yesterday,
yes,
and the Senate had directed that she can bring the matter today, it will have been reflected in the votes and proceedings of yesterday. I have looked at these votes and proceedings. I cannot find that matter reflected therein. Thank you.
Well, distinguished colleagues, distinguished colleagues, the correct procedure would have been for the motion to be listed on our order paper if the motion had been submitted in line with the directives of the Senate to Senator Zam, the chairman of Rules and Business. You want to explain?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, if we have to discuss this matter further, Mr. President, I will urge that we go to a closed session.
That we go to
a closed session. Which one is no? I'm talking to the chair. I'm talking to the president.
Okay. She was. Distinguished colleagues, if we had Senator Ireti Kingibe here, we would have said that we bend over, we bend our rules and give her the opportunity to move our motion in view of the fact that we had ruled yesterday that she should bring it today. And unfortunately, she failed to submit it to rules and business. But in spite of that, we can still give her the opportunity to do so. But I think maybe she has gone to ease herself, so she's not in the Senate at the moment. Senator Akobundu, is it possible for you to look around if Senator Ireti Kingibe is around? You tell her to come inside and then let her talk to Nigerians on this motion so that it won't look as if we denied her the opportunity. We have nothing to hide. We're a court of equity. Fine. Distinguished colleagues, we are still waiting to see whether our colleague, distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, will come in.
Hawe, she's on her way, sir.
And please, I know social media is very active. A lot of people do not understand the rules of parliament, just like we don't understand the rules of engagement of the military. you know, so when we take a decision here, people tend to go personal, and they will run to social media, and they don't understand our procedures. So here, in spite of the fact that the procedure is faulty, we are prepared to bend backwards and give her the opportunity to say what she wants to say, so it won't look as if she was shut out, particularly these days of gender sensitivity. Senator Idiot, if you can go outside and call your colleague so that she can come and say what she wants to say. Distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, you know, at any point in time, you were elected to represent your people, the people of the FCT. If you step out while proceedings are going on, they lose because they won't have the opportunity of hearing your voice. And also, you won't have the opportunity of saying something on their behalf. The rules are very clear. We are still learning, but in spite of the rules, we are taking a decision that this matter should be taken today, and the correct thing would have been that we would have seen it on the order paper. But in spite of the fact that it is not on the order paper, in the wisdom of the elders of the Senate, if the minority leader will agree with me, in the wisdom of the elders of the Senate, they feel that you should actually still be given the opportunity to say something, but you also have another issue. Have you distributed the motion? No. Please use your microphone. Use your microphone. Have
The
you distributed
motions
the
were
motion?
read since yesterday, sir.
Motion distributed?
Now, yes.
They are distributing it now?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and move your motion. But please
Senate President, distinguished colleagues.
Start with slight apology to your colleagues for working out on them.
No, sir.
Then we have a problem there. If you are not
Okay, I apologize to my colleagues for working out.
humble enough to
Okay,
apologize
sir,
to your
I
colleagues
apologize to my
for
colleagues
working
for
out on
working
them,
out.
then you will
Now,
move your
added
motion.
to that, my colleagues, I expect fairness in the Senate for everybody. Concessions are given to other people. I expect them to be given to me also when it is needed. I apologize if you did not like how I lost my temper, but I was expecting this to happen today.
Proceed to move your motion.
Apology, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing the Federal Capital Territory. Note that the Federal Capital Administration, on the instruction of Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, embarked on massive demolition of structures within the Federal Capital Territory. Also note that the demolition, according to the FCT authority, was informed by illegal structures and non-development of allocated plots of land by the FCT administration. Concerned that in recent time, the demolition exercise in the FCT is no longer based on reasons adduced by the FCT administration that necessitated the demolition. Further concerned that the current demolition in the FCT is not in line with due process of court orders to demolish. As such, a cross-section of individuals had suffered untold hardships occasioned by massive demolition, which has led to a loss of properties worth billions of naira. Also concerned that at the moment, an estate by name Messrs. Paulosa, for which late Colonel Paul Osankwanwa Ogbebo is the chairman, is currently under revocation and demolition. And from reliable information, the said plot of land was allocated to him in 1984 with requisite title document. And further concerned that the owner of this estate was a patriotic Nigerian who served the nation meritoriously and one of the first intakes of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, with registration number 001. Senate resolves accordingly to urge the FCT administration to halt the ongoing revocation and demolition of the said property, as it does not fall within the purview of the reasons for the massive demolition being carried by the FCDA. Also, all demolitions should follow due process. Second prayer. I so submit.
Thank you, but I have one off your mic. I have one problem with your motion. That number 001. Are you very sure? Because I know that Wellington Bassey's estate. Wellington Bassey. Okay. Okay, the first 001 was for the Nigerian Army. Then this 001 is for the Defense Academy. Okay. Any seconder? Yes. Senator Natasha.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished
Today
colleagues.
is for women, so go on.
I'm Senator Natasha Kotudwaha, representing the good people of Kogi Central. I stand to second the motion as raised by distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe that we should please put a stop to the demolition of Paul Osa Estate in Abuja and set up a committee to investigate the matters that are arising. We should call for the petitions from the estate owners and also invite the Honorable Minister and his team so we can view things objectively from all sides. Thank you so much. I so submit.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, I think yes, Senator Karimi.
Thank you, Mr. President, my colleagues. My name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi West. If you look at this motion, the President, sir, a specific land allocation was mentioned belonging to one Paul Obebo. We don't know anything about this thing. And we are just coming because of this to tell the minister, stop. There is need to investigate this matter before giving any directive. We must hear from the minister. So we have to hear before we say stop demolition. So let's hear from the minister first. You can't shave a man's head at his back. You can't shave his head at his back. We need to hear from the minister.
Yes, son.
Thank you, Mr. President. With respect, I disagree with Senator Karimi. I think we need to be fair to everybody. There is before us an allegation that says certain steps are to be taken, which will culminate in demolition. Are we saying that we should allow the place to be demolished while we are trying to look into it? My own view is simple. We should tell him to stop, and as Senator Natasha has said, start the investigation so that there is a level playing ground. Are we now going to investigate, and if we find that the minister has done something wrong, but he has then demolished? I don't think that is fair. I think what is fair is to say, stop the situation today and let us investigate. With respect, sir, I think that is what is fair.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Judiciary, Legal Matters. I was just going. My thought was in line with yours. If we just say continue the demolition, and then we start investigation, what are we? In fact, I think at the end of the day, we will be talking about. We would have buried if we would have the rest would have been buried. Do you understand? All we'll be talking now is no longer our wahala. It will now be the problem of court. Because the owners will have to go to court to go and claim compensation, do this, do that. So it's not the same. I think what she's saying, when we look into the prayers, will be that we should urge the minister to put a hold on the demolitions. And then we set up a committee to investigate. I think that should be the best thing. And then that committee will now invite the minister and the other people, then they will come and explain. Because we want to be sure that they are following the proper procedure and that the demolitions are not personal. It's important for us to satisfy ourselves that demolitions are in the best interest of Nigerians. I'll give you an example. When I was a minister, we had about 15 units of houses here in Abuja. And then the Minister of FCT gave notice. They did not adhere to the notice, so he wanted to move in to investigate. It was so urgent that they wrote a petition and brought it straight to then President Buhari. And then President Buhari went through invited them. They came, so he invited the minister and said, what is this? And I think these were even military officers. So the minister appeared with a map and showed that all these structures were built on the drainage channels. And he turned to them and asked them, how long have you lived there? They said 15 years. And he asked the minister, are you stupid that you are causing flooding in Lukukuma for 15 years? You allowed these structures to remain there until they brought the petition that you want to bring down their structures. Please leave this place now. This afternoon, go and start a demolition so that water can flow. So it's important that we appeal for the minister to stop demolition and then appear before our ad hoc committee that will look into this matter. For is it FCT committee? No, I want to use ad hoc committee because this should not have come to the plenary if FCT committee had handled this area. I so rule. Dismissed colleagues, the prayer is only one. Urge the FCT administration to halt the ongoing demolition of the said property. You know, it shouldn't be one property. If anybody wants to couch this, Senator Lero, you have been chairman of Works. Amend this prayer so that it will be all inclusive, so that we don't go into only one property. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mohammed Adam is my name. I will amend this prayer to urge the FCT administration to halt ongoing demolition of the said property.
Not the said property.
Ongoing demolition. Ongoing demolition in FCT. Pending the time the Senate, pending the time the ad hoc committee on the Senate finish its. Yeah, we are setting up ad hoc committee. We said so. No, we
Okay, so if you are still reading the same prayer, those in support of the prayer.
No. Let me amend it properly. I'm not. Add FCT administration to halt all ongoing demolitions in the FCT. Then set up an ad hoc committee. No, the standing committee. Well, I'm relying on what the SP said. Yes. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I will add additional prayer by saying that there should be standing. No, we have done that. They have scandals. Maybe you're not hearing.
Yes, Senator Ashiru.
Mr. President, I find a lot of difficulty in this motion. The first issue, I was reading through, and there are this issue of what FCT said that all. Yeah, I'm saying that one, sir. I'm saying that one, sir, because we cannot stop the minister from doing his work. Let us restrict. Yes, let us restrict. It's cleaning the city.
is cleaning the city, making the city look good. The idea of demolition is to make the city look good. We can't stop him from doing his work. Yes, yes, we can't stop him from doing his work. This city must look good. It must be a modern city.
Well,
So let's restrict ourselves to the motion. Let us restrict ourselves to the motion of demolition of this estate.
You talk like somebody who is in the built industry. Are you an architect? Well, let me put it this way.
I'm saying it with a sense of
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Senator Abbas, if we can allow Natasha to concentrate now. Minority leader, yes.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I think we may not have properly appreciated the body of the motion. The motion in paragraph 3 talked about FCT. So it's not about one demolition. The only problem here is that in the prayer, it restricted itself to one building. And so what amendment that we require now is to say that that property and other properties earmarked for demolition until the relevant committee of the Senate interfaces with the FCT minister.
Well, there is only one problem. Some of the demolitions are ordered by the court. We cannot tell the court not to do its work. Sorry, Senator Kingibe, you are not working in FCT. Some of the demolitions have been authorized by the court. So you are not working in FCT to know that. And then the idea of an FCT minister, we don't bring a demon to be an FCT minister. We bring human beings who have compassion, who have families. So if somebody building on a drainage channel, and the court has ordered that such property should be demolished, you can't come by resolution of the Senate and say don't obey the court. The court has its own duties to do. The minister must obey the court orders. But those that are not covered by court orders, we should urge the minister to put a hold on such demolitions until the ad hoc committee interfaces with the FCT administration, and brings the report to be sure that yes, indeed, those things are meritable. But don't tell me that a minister should be told to go and disobey court order. The courts are doing their work, and they take evidence before they come to judgment. So please, let us try not to be emotional when we are doing things. Let's look at things from the national interest. There's a lot of flooding in many parts of the FCT as a result of people clustering houses on drainage channels, where the court gives order to the minister to take care of those things for the benefit of people and children who get drowned, and people are dying during the rainy season. We should take cognizance of those things. I don't know. I don't want us to be emotional. And it is not personal. You have future senators here after us. You have future administrations in FCT after the current administration. You have future presidents after the current president. But please, let's not try to use the parliament to muzzle either the judiciary or the administration from carrying out its duties. Let's come to a middle ground that further demolitions should be put on hold, except those ordered by the courts, until we interface with the FCT administration. So those in support of the fact that we should have another committee to investigate this matter, say aye. Those against say nay. The, uh, first, the eyes have it. Then after that, you can give your reason. But I did not hear your voice. I heard the voice from the Senate. I asked the Senate the question, and the eyes have it. So what do you mean you have your reason? Even if you were the one shouting, it doesn't matter. So, so on what? Do you have a? Can we take that as the only prayer? Is there any additional prayer?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you forgot to mention the halt of the demolition.
The
The stoppage, the halt of the demolition, sir.
that is the motion.
But you only talked about establishing the committee to investigate.
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. We said that further demolitions should be put on hold, except those ordered by the courts, until the ad hoc committee has interfered with FCT administration to determine the propriety or otherwise of such actions. You see, it's so simple. It's no quarrel. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. Yes.
Mr. Senate President.
Sorry. Let me invite Senator Abdullahi Yahya, our leader, to craft that resolution of the Senate so that I can read it out. Please give him plain sheet so that we don't miss it at all. Please give him plain sheet so that there will be no ambiguity that the Senate at its sitting today considered a motion from the FCT senator on demolitions, on ongoing demolitions of structures both illegal and non-illegal structures in the FCT, and urge the minister to put a hold on further demolitions except those ordered by the courts until the FCT administration has concluded interface with the Senate ad hoc committee set up to look into those demolitions and revert to the Senate for a final decision. And in view of the urgency of the matter, I think we should put a timeline. I think it should be within 1 week. It should be within 1 week because of the fact that some people may suffer irreparable injury if the demolitions are not in line with the due process. Yes. Distinguished Senator Yaya. Distinguished Senator Yaya. So you can read out the draft. Huh? Huh? Read out the amended prayer. So, Mr. President, with your permission, Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to read the amended prayer. Yes, proceed. With your permission, I would want to read the amended prayer. The Senate, at its sitting on Thursday, 12 December 2024, considered a motion on the ongoing demolition in the FCT and urges the minister to suspend the demolition exercise except those ordered by courts of competent jurisdiction until after the ad hoc committee constituted by the Senate to ascertain the propriety of the exercise concludes its investigation within a period of 2 weeks. Distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, you may wish to second the amendment. I didn't hear you.
The prayer is fine. I second the prayer as written, as read by him.
Distinguished colleagues, the Senate, the former leader, Distinguished Senator Abdullah Yahya, has proposed an amendment to the single prayer of the motion to read as follows: that the Senate at its sitting on Thursday, the 12th day of December 2024, consider the motion on the ongoing demolition of structures in the Federal Capital Territory and urges the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to suspend forthwith further demolitions of structures except those ordered by the courts of competent jurisdictions until the ad hoc committee constituted by the Senate to ascertain the propriety or otherwise of the exercise concludes its investigation and interferes with the FCT administration within the next 1 week, within the next 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks. This has been seconded by distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, the mover of the motion. Those in support of this amended prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. For the ad hoc committee to interface with the FCT administration on these ongoing demolitions of structures will be made up of distinguished Senator Barao Jibrin as chairman, distinguished Senator Sabi Yao as member, distinguished Senator Victor Ome as member, distinguished Senator Jimo Ibrahim as member, distinguished Senator Isa Ashiru as member, distinguished Senator distinguished Senator Jaribe Agum Jaribe as member, and distinguished Senator Mohammed Mongono. This is almost like committee of leadership. What of the former Senate leader? Huh? So let's have distinguished Senator Abdullah Yahya as member. That makes it two-man ad hoc committee. But here we don't have a single woman. So let's add Senator Ejad Lawrence. Is that the wish of the Senate? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is the motion standing my name on amendment of standing rules of the Senate, pursuant to Order 109 of Senate Standing Rule 2023 as amended. Mr. President, with your permission, I will wish to move the motion. Where's this motion?
Yeah, proceed.
The Senate knows the need to amend the Senate Standing Order to accommodate issues that will facilitate effective legislative process. Aware that it is imperative to amend standing orders of Senate 2023 as amended to establish additional committees and have their functions and jurisdiction reflected in the standing orders. Also note that in view of the foregoing, there will be need for consequential approval of the Senate in renumber the rule in Order 96 to accommodate the new committee. Further aware that the amendments have been circulated to the senators in accordance with Order 109, Rule 2 of the Senate Standing Order. Accordingly, resolved to enter into committee of whole to consider the proposed amendment. 2, approve the proposed amendment as contained therein and direct the clerk of Senate to repeat the Senate standing order with the new amendment. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to distinguished colleagues. I rise to support the motion moved by the Senate leader to seek amendment to Standing Order 2023 to accommodate new committees. I so second.
Colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Yes.
Committee of Osa.
Senate has resolved to go into committee of the whole.
Mr. Senate President, in view of the need to complete works on committee, I wish to step down order the order and go. I wish to step order. Eh? I can step it down. It has not been seconded, so I can withdraw it. I mean, withdrawing the motion. That's it.
Okay, I think
Mr. President,
nobody has seconded the motion.
I want to second the withdrawal.
They move motion for
Okay. In view of the fact that nobody seconded the earlier motion, the motion for withdrawal is sustained. Those in support that this motion be withdrawn in order to reject and bring it in line with the existing realities, with the creation of livestock ministry, the creation of regional ministry, and then for further legislative action. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, so proceed to the next item.
Mr. President, the second order of the day is the second reading of Federal Orthopedic Hospital Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 582. The distinguished senator will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 8 October 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator down, see. It's not 7, no. Where's the paper? Where's the paper? You may wish to invite Senator Dubiyi to go ahead with the bill.
Distinguished Senator Ruby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be taking this lead debate on behalf of Senator Padansi, Osho East. Mr. President, dear colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill for establishment of Federal Orthopedic Hospital Obokun in Osun State. The bill was read for the first time in this Holy Chamber on Tuesday, 8th October 2024. Orthopedics is the specialty of medicine that is concerned with the musculoskeletal system. This system is responsible for many important functions, including running, jumping, and swimming. Despite the important functions, maintaining a strong muscular system, most people don't give it much consideration, which inevitably leads to health complications as people's age. As a result, the need for orthopedic hospital has risen significantly in the recent years. The number of increase in the last few decades. It will probably continue to increase in the future as population age and society becomes more aware of the causes of bone and muscular problems. There are a variety of reasons that orthopedic hospital played a crucial role in improving patient health. Here are some of the most common health problems that they helped address. One, diagnosis and treatment from trauma events such as falls and car accidents, repetitive sports injuries, the rate of bones and bone cancer. These problems are becoming more frequent over time, which is forcing people to seek state-of-the-art treatment options. The role of orthopedic hospital will play an ever more important role in the medical profession. The Federal Orthopedic Hospital Obokun, Osun State, which, when established, will offer comprehensive orthopedic care for joint replacement, fractures, joint pains, sport injuries, arthritis, and other injuries and conditions. In addition to minimal invasive and advanced surgery procedures. This bill is responsible for the cries of many constraints in our state, especially those in dense populated areas who daily watch helplessly like wards suffer pains due to lack of well-equipped orthopedics hospital. I therefore urge Mr. President, dear colleagues, to support the passing of this bill for the second reading and also backing its accelerated passage. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, in line with Order 76.3 of our standing rules 2023, the financial competence is here attached. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity.
Distinguished Senator Oluranti, Idiot.
Your Excellency, Senate President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support the motion for the creation of Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Oboko, in Osun State. And I do this based on my conviction for the establishment of an orthopedic hospital in Oboko, considering the many benefits for the people of that state. The science has to enable them to be able to diagnose and treat traumatic issues, repetitive sports injury, all that will warrant them for the need of an orthopedic hospital in that state. So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support the motion. I so submit.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support that the bill for an act to amend the Federal Orthopedic Hospitals Act and for other related matters 2024 SB 582 we read the second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the bill is hereby referred to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary. Yes, clerk, proceed to read the bill.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to amend the Federal Orthopedic Hospital Act and for other related matters, 2024, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Orthopedic Hospitals Act and for other related matters 2024. Second reading taken. The bill is hereby referred to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary to report back to the Senate in 6 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the third of the day, the second reading of Federal Colleges of Education Act, Amendment Bill 2024, SB 169. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 12 October 2023. Mr. President, I may wish to invite Senator Jiman Ibrahim to move the motion for the bill to be read second time.
Senator Professor Jimo Ibrahim.
Mr. Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my very distinguished colleagues, I rise to lead debate in respect of the establishment of Federal College of Education Act Amendment Bill 2024 SB 169. As said by the leader, the distinguished colleague will recall that this bill was first read in the Hollow Chambers on Thursday, 12th October 2023. Mr. Senate President, and my distinguished colleagues, this is another opportunity to lend your voice to the exigencies of the importance of education for the young people, and particularly for the people of Bekebo. The existence of a sound and robust educational system in any country is predicted and available for qualified and well-trained teachers to impart or require knowledge on the students. This bill seeks to establish a College of Education which will train the teachers, and this is a further edifier for development of education in Nigeria. Undoubtedly, the realization of College of Education are tools for national development have led to the unbearable quest for the vigorous expansion of College of Education in Nigeria. We are short of teachers, and there is need to have specialized schools that train teachers and the people of the Bekobo in Ondo South Central District need this even yesterday. The objective of the college outlined in the bill, among other things, to encourage advancement of learning for all persons without distractions of race and sex or political conviction. And when established, to develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, first degree, postgraduate research program, diploma and higher educational emphasis on planning, development. And this is very, very important to our educational system. When established, to produce
socially matured educational men and women capabilities, not only to understand educational need of Nigeria as a nation, but also to exploit existing educational infrastructure and improve to develop new one. The core of education is going to be very innovative in time of development and create an opportunity for educational growth in Nigeria. When established, Mr. President, the College of Education in Bekabo is to act as agent and catalyst for effective educational system through postgraduate training, research, and other innovative educational system, and to identify educational needs of society with a view of finding solutions to them within the context of overall national development. Since education innovation is about development, they are actually set up to solve problems of the society. Mr. President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my distinguished colleague, my highly respected colleagues, the enactment of this bill will not only help in transforming the decaying educational infrastructure in our dear country. It is my prayer that and call to consider the plight of the people, especially Bekobo is in the riverine area of SLD local government. They have no single higher education. They produce 5% of national oil. In line with the order 76.3, Mr. Senate President of the Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended, a compendium for the financial implication of the establishment of the College of Education in Bekobo is hereby attached. Therefore, I urge my very learned and very distinguished colleagues to lend your voice to support this all-important motion to the people of Bekobo in the rural area who gave Nigeria 5% of oil without any form of higher education. I urge you, Mr. Senate President, and my very distinguished colleagues to support this all fundamental and important innovative education bill that is being led by me in the lead debate today before the plenary. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Chairman Judiciary.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, Adeni Adegbomire, Ondo Central. I stand before you this afternoon to second the motion ably moved by Senator Jimo Ibrahim. I would like to say that this bill should be passed respectfully for two very simple reasons. One is that what it seeks to achieve by this bill is to take education to more people, give more people the opportunity to be educated, to be properly educated. There's no gainsaying in saying that we all know that the population, particularly the young population in Nigeria, is increasing by the day. And there is the need for the government to provide avenues for people being properly educated. I therefore have no hesitation in seconding this motion. Thank you very much.
Senator Antoniani.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Professor Antoniani for South. I rise to lend my voice to all this important bill on Federal College of Education Act Amendment Bill, as moved and seconded by my colleagues. The importance of colleges of education in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. We should know that this is an institution that produces NCE graduates who are meant to take care of primary and nursery schools. Because according to Nigerian system of education, NCE graduates to be the least qualified persons to teach in primary and nursery schools. And you can agree with me that there is a preponderance of nursery, primary schools, particularly at private level. So passing this bill on the establishment of this Federal College of Education will be adding value to taking care of the production of more teachers
for the emerging nursery primary schools. I wish this is replicated in many parts of the country, because what is currently in vogue is that colleges of education are being de-emphasized. University education is taking over. But if we should look back and look inwards, to note that colleges of education are meant to take care of these primary and nursery schools. Government should give emphasis and give attention to this stage of educational attainment. So in all, the objectives of this bill, to me, are very well captured, and they are straight to the point. And therefore, without mincing words, strongly support that this bill should be supported by everybody in this chamber. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so submit.
Distinguished colleagues, I want to thank all of you for your submissions. And now to put the question, those in support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Igbe-Kobo, Ondo State, and for other related matters, 2024, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act to provide for the establishment of Igbe-Kobo, Ondo State, and for other related matters, 2024, second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund to revert to the Senate in 6 weeks. Let me thank distinguished Senator Juma Ibrahim and all those who contributed to the lead debate on this all-important bill. I pray that this, when eventually passed into Act of Parliament, it will add to enlightenment, education, and employment opportunities for the children, not just in Ondo State, but of Nigeria as a whole. Congratulations. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fourth order of the day is second reading of the Strengthening Career and Technical Training Bill 2024 SB 641. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 20th November 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Musa Muhammad Sani to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I stand to lead the debate on the Strengthening Career and Technical Training Bill 2024. My name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. Your Excellency, my distinguished colleagues, it is with great honor and a sense of duty that I rise to lead the debate on the Strengthening Career and Technical Training Bill 2024. This bill is of utmost importance as it addresses a fundamental challenge facing our nation, the skills gap between education and the labor market, and the need for robust, job-oriented training for our workforce. Why this bill is necessary? Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, allow me to begin by painting a picture of the challenges we face. Unemployment and underemployment, despite our nation's abundant talent. Many Nigerians remain unemployed or underemployed because they lack the technical skills required by modern industries. Misalignment of education and industry needs. Many of our educational programs are theoretical and do not equip students with practical and market-relevant skills. Global competition. Nigeria risks falling behind in the global economy if we do not invest in building a highly skilled, competitive workforce. Rapid technological changes. Emerging sectors such as renewable energy, ICT, and biotechnology require a workforce trained in cutting-edge skills. The objectives of the bill is the Strengthening Career and Technical Training Bill 2024 seek to enhance career and technical education to meet the demands of Nigerians' industries, equip Nigerians with skills that lead to sustainable employment and entrepreneurship, promote partnership between educational institutions, industries, and government for effective training, establish a framework for funding and monitoring technical training programs. Key provisions of the bill, Mr. President, the key highlights of the bills include development of training programs. The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ministry of Labor, will design training programs targeting high-growth industries such as ICT, renewable energy, manufacturing, healthcare, and agribusiness. Accreditation and certification. All training programs will meet national and international standards to ensure global competitiveness. The funding and incentives. The bill establishes a career and technical training fund sourced from budgetary allocations, private sector contributions, and international grants. Industries that provide apprenticeship and internships will receive tax incentives to encourage participation. Inclusivity, special provisions will ensure access for marginalized groups, including women, persons with disabilities, and rural population. Why this bill deserves our support, distinguished colleagues, this bill is not just about training. It is about economic transformation. Let us consider the benefits. Job creation. By equipping Nigerians with in-demand skills, we will create a pipeline of job-ready individuals for local industries. When you talk of entrepreneurship with practical skills, more Nigerians will be empowered to start their own businesses, contributing to economic diversification. It will reduce unemployment. A skilled workforce will reduce unemployment rates and alleviate the socio-economic pressures associated with joblessness. Underemployment will be addressed. That's a mistake. Despite our nation's abundant talents, many Nigerians remain unemployed or underemployed because they lack the technical skills required by modern industries. For economic growth, industries will flourish with access to a trained workforce, boosting productivity and our gross domestic products. There will be global competitiveness. Nigeria will become a hub for innovation and skilled labor, attracting foreign investment and partnership. Misalignment of education and industry needs. Many of our educational programs are theoretical and fail to equip students with practical, market-relevant skills. Rapid technological changes, emerging sectors such as renewable energy, ICT, and biotechnology require a workforce trained in cutting-edge skills. Examples of nations that have gone through these, distinguished colleagues, we need to look far to see the success of such initiatives. In Germany, the dual vocational training system has made the country a global leader in technical expertise. In China, investment in technical education have fueled its manufacturing and ICT sectors. In India, skills development mission has transformed millions of lives by providing market-aligned technical training. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we have a historic opportunity to chart a new course for our nation. By passing this bill, we send a powerful message that we are committed to empowering Nigerians with the tools they need to succeed in today's economy. I urge each of you to lend your support to this transformative initiative. Let us work together to bridge the skills gap, unlock our nation's potentials, and create a future where every Nigerian has the opportunity to thrive. In conclusion, Mr. President, I hereby move that the Strengthening Career and Technical Training Bill 2024 be read a second time and committed to the appropriate committee for further deliberation. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Distinguished Senator Aljo Sakalo.
Thank you, Mr. President, for calling me. I want to support this bill that distinguished Senator Sani Musa had proposed. In looking at this bill, those of us that work in the shipping industry, you will realize that for me to hire somebody to do welding, the ship, it has to either be Indian, a German, Puerto Rico, or Filipino, because we don't have the skilled worker. So in supporting this bill, I would also like to cite to Mr. President that two countries recently have started technical education, and the economy has come out to be one of the strongest economies in the world. One is Vietnam, and second is Turkey. So Sani Musa have given the old people that use the new style. I'm talking about the new people that use the new style, and it's Turkey and Vietnam. Their economy is growing almost at 9% every year. So I urge my colleagues, without mixing words, to say that Senator Sani Musa have brought a bill of strengthening career and technical education. You can even see our bricklayers and all the rest of them, and house helps. They are not properly tutored. Nobody is going to school of hospitality again. Nobody is going to career to learn how to serve food or cook food and all the rest of them. So, Mr. President, please, and my colleagues, I believe that all our colleagues will support this bill. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator Juma Ibrahim.
Thank you very much,
Just
Mr. Senate President.
one minute so that we wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senate President. This is an all-important bill, considering the fact that the number of secondary school graduates is over 5 million in Nigeria, and the university available and college of education can only take less than 2 million. So we have surplus of 3 million. No, even if they pass 6 credits, they have no school to take them. This is the direction by which Nigeria to be moving forward to. And technical education is to solve problem of Nigeria, and they go into diverse sectors. Now, this is a very prime concern to innovation, and I think we must commend Senator Sani Musa for this right thinking. So I will be supporting this all important motion and the lead debate for the establishment of technical education. In fact, I will also advise the Senate President that the Senate move in this direction very quickly. If the conventional education is not paying us, what are we waiting for in the contemporary times? China development is rooted in technical education. Everybody cannot be PhD holder professor, and if these PhD and professors are not helping, what about the small education you can pick by way of technical skill and develop? We cannot be bringing people from Lome, from Togo to be doing our tiles. Go to anywhere project is taking in Abuja today. People putting tiles on the floor. They are from the people of Lome. And our people are completely jobless here. And we are complaining of hunger. I think this innovative Senate that is solving Nigeria problem to take this as a prime issue, the dashboard of national development. Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues.
Thank you. I remember many years ago when we used to make shoes in Nigeria, in Aba. for them to buy your shoe, when you make it in a bar, you write under made in Spain. And immediately people will buy it to show off that it's Spanish shoe. And it was always very solid. So I think maybe some of these workers, particularly those laying tires, they can claim the names of Togo and Benin Republic so that they will give them the jobs very easily. Distinguished Senator Ningi, what don't you think so?
Very well, so, Mr. President. Mr. President, my name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central. Mr. President, on a serious note, I look at this bill and I feel really, really proud that we are thinking towards this direction. I think the Senate must commend the sponsor of this bill that's well crafted, well researched, and thoroughly delivered. The objective of the bill, the necessariness of the bill, deserves our total support. Mr. President, what the bill is asking all of us is to reflect our situation at the moment. Why are we not like India? Why are we not like Turkey? Why are we not like South Korea? Why are we not like Taiwan? These are the missing gaps that our educational development over a couple of decades have not been able to stitch technical skills through technical education is the only answer and the only way forward for our development. By 2030, Nigeria will become the third largest country on the face of the earth. Our unemployment position, even at the moment, is unpardonable and we cannot sustain it. And therefore, it is through this technical education with technical skills that our desire towards the next millennium will be met. It is important, Mr. President, when we pass this bill for second reading, that the Senate must decide to take this document as an own it up. By owning it up is to design a package that will send to the executive that this is the way forward. It is important, Mr. President, for all of us to reflect. We are here today. In the next 100 years, we won't be here. And therefore, all that we do, all that we desire, is to leave a better world for our children and the children yet unborn. Because we have also been endowed with some very good leadership that sent us to school free of charge. Now, no Nigerian goes to school free of charge. And we must catch this opportunity because of our unique placement in the society to now say, what do we do to the generation of tomorrow and generation yet unborn? These are part of the filling gaps. And I think Sani Musa should be commended, Senator, for this and for sponsoring this bill and try to develop it as a package for Nigerian educational system. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, I don't think anybody is opposed to this bill. Okay, so those who support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to strengthen career and technical training as a pathway for Nigerian students' development towards high-skilled and growth, and for other matters connected therewith, 2024, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to strengthen career and technical training as pathways for Nigerian students' development towards high skill and growth, and for other matters connected therewith, 2024. Second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary, to refer to the Senate within the next 6 weeks. Let me very quickly make two announcements since we are not extending time. The first announcement is that we have slight difference on the NDIC amendment bill. So the conference committee will be as follows from the Senate. Adetogumba Abiru, His Excellency Adamu Aleru, His Excellency Ojus Okalu, dear brother Senator Sadi Goma, distinguished Senator Mongonu, and distinguished Senator Adams Oshmole. They will constitute the conference committee to interface with our colleagues to bring the provisions at par for eventual passage into Act of Parliament when signed by Mr. President. I don't think, I think you should report back to the Senate as soon as NDIC, as soon as practicable. Then His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has indicated his intention to bring the 2025 budget proposals and estimates to a joint sitting of the National Assembly on 17th day of December 2024. That will be at 11 a.m. prompt. That will be in the House of Representatives as usual. So I'm talking about Tuesday next week.
We need to move a motion for us to first.
2 minutes of deliberation before we move down to midweek. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I move a motion that we should step down the residual items on the other bill, on the other paper till Tuesday, the 17th December, 10 a.m. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that we step down all the other outstanding items on the other paper till Tuesday, 17th December 2024. I so second.
Students College, the motion has been moved that we step down other items on the other paper and proceed to adjourn the Senate to Tuesday, 17th day of December 2024. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, the 17th day of December 2024 at 11 a.m. when there will be a joint session of the two chambers for Mr. President's budget speech. However, we shall meet here first before we go in a procession to the House of Representatives.